Long ago in the 16th century, there was a mighty Hausa city-state in what is now northern Nigeria. Its name was Zazzau, located around today's city of Zaria, and it was here where one of the most fierce and legendary warrior queens in history lived. Her name was Amina, and the people of her homeland remember her as fearless leader who expanded her domain through military might, yet also as a brilliant tactician and builder who protected her people with massive walls still standing till this day. Come closer, ye people, and let me tell you the epic tale of how Amina, daughter of Bakwa Turunku, became the unrivaled queen of Zazzau. In the beginning, long before Amina became the powerful queen, she was just a little girl living in the royal palace of Zazzau. Even as a child, something about her was different from the other noble girls. While they played with dolls and practiced embroidery, Amina showed little interest. What she liked to do was play with swords and shields, learning how to fight and defending herself against any boy who tried to get the better of her. In fact, the child showed so much natural talent in martial matters that her grandfather, the king of Zazzau, took notice. Impressed by her spirit, he gave her a complete set of shining armor and allowed her to join the men of his army when they went out to practice. So, from then on, instead of playing like other girls, young Amara trained rigorously. Every day she learned to ride a horse like a man and soon became one of the finest horsewomen in all of Houseland. With sword in hand, she would whirl around the parade ground, brandishing her weapon and shouting war cries as loud as any warrior. It seemed clear that this was no ordinary girl, but a future queen meant to lead her people to greatness. Sadly, though, her father, the king, could not see this. He kept insisting that his daughter was too dainty and delicate to live a life of fighting and bloodshed. But the king underestimated just how determined Amina was. One day, when her father was away on a long journey, a rival king from a nearby state dared to attack and pillage part of Zazzau. Though her grandfather was a strong ruler, he was growing old and slow. So when he heard of the attack, he called upon Amina and her older brother to lead the defense. They assembled the royal guard and charged forth in chariots to meet the enemy. Now, as they were riding out to the battlefield, the young prince boasted proudly, "Surely this day we shall win great honor or die trying. There is no shame in dying for one's country, my sister." Hearing him say such foolish things, Amina couldn't help but laugh. "You think you are brave, brother, because you will have pretty horses to ride and handsome captives to take. But truly, war is serious business. If we are not careful, many good men will die today." Then she spurred her chariot forward until she was leading the way. And soon enough, her actions proved that her spirit was far stronger and wiser than her boastful brothers. Arriving at the front lines, Amina rallied the soldiers and directed them with precise commands. She even led charges on foot, sword in hand, fighting like the fiercest warrior among them. Meanwhile, her brother got lost in a drunken haze, chasing after plunder. As a result, when the battle was won and the invaders routed, all the people shouted praises for Amina, calling her name until it echoed across the plains. "Amina, daughter of Bakwa Turunku, you are the hope of Zazzau." The old king heard these cheers and realized that indeed his granddaughter had something special, a spark of greatness that could carry the throne of Zazzau into a new era. Yet tragedy struck soon after. When the king passed away, he left the throne to his son, making him the new ruler of Zazzau. This meant that the rightful heir, Amina, was destined to be nothing more than a princess. But this didn't stop her from dreaming big. Oh, no? When her new brother, Karama, ascended to the throne, Amina remained close by, watching and waiting. 7 years passed in this way. And during that time, Amina continued honing her skills as a warrior, gaining experience in tactics and strategy. At the same time, she noticed that King Karama was no good. Despite being blessed with everything needed to be a fine leader, he neglected his duties and wasted his time on frivolous pleasures. He did not bother himself with governing, nor did he train for the responsibilities of war. So, when another rival king heard of Karuma's weakness, he attacked. Once again, hoping to plunder Zazzau without resistance, this time the young king sounded a desperate alarm, calling upon his sister, Amina, for help. "Come quickly, Amina, our enemies breach our walls. Without your aid, we cannot withstand them." Hearing his urgent plea, Amina wasted no time. She grabbed her spear and shield and rode out to the battlefield with a handful of loyal soldiers. Upon seeing her, the rest of the royal guard rallied and fought with renewed vigor, beating back the invaders, and then something amazing happened. As if possessed by the spirits of her ancestors, Amina led a counter-charge, routing the enemy forces and driving them back over the border. From that day forward, no one doubted Amina's capabilities. Not only had she proven herself as a skilled commander, but also as a true leader with vision, daring, and compassion for her people. And so, when King Karama passed away shortly after, it was clear who should replace him. The entire kingdom erupted in cheers. Amina, daughter of Bakwa Turunku, is the ruler of Zazzau. Now, after ascending to the throne, Amina was crowned queen, and from that moment on, she ruled wisely and justly over her people. Her advisors wondered how the new queen would govern. Would she be more like her father, weak and ineffective? Or would she follow in her grandfather's footsteps and be a champion of justice? The answer came swiftly. In her first year as queen, Amina led her followers on a campaign across the Hausa kingdoms. Her armies pushed their boundaries farther than ever before. She reached as far as Kano, Katsina, and Nupe, demanding tribute in trade goods, horses, and metals. Any ruler who refused to submit was defeated and forced to pay tribute. And so Amina's wealth grew immensely, allowing her to outfit her army in fine armor and arm them with the sharpest weapons. Yet she was not a tyrant who held court in her palace while her people suffered. Rather, her belief was that a ruler must expand her people's land and defend their honor. That's why wherever Amina traveled, she ordered her soldiers to build strong earthen walls around every town they conquered. These defensive structures served as bulwarks against future attacks. And they stood so tall and wide that even today, parts of them remain across northern Nigeria, silently telling tales of the warrior queen who built them. But despite her great power and influence, Amina remained a humble leader. She worked tirelessly for the good of her people, showing fairness and kindness to all. In fact, one thing people remember about her was that though many men desired her and begged her to marry them, she chose to be independent. She never took a husband. Instead, she picked her own companions as she pleased. Some sources claim she took a man only once, a warrior named Amma, who was said to be so handsome and dashing, the queen couldn't resist. But even their union lasted only 3 months because Queen Amina liked her freedom too much to be tied down. Of course, those who heard rumors about the queen's private affairs felt disappointed. They wanted her to wed a prince from a neighboring state, someone who could bring prestige to Zazzau. However, the queen had no interest in doing this. For her, her kingdom was more important than any suitor. And so for 34 years, Queen Amina continued to rule Zazzau with wisdom and strength. She led her soldiers into battle, but also made time for the needs of her people. Unfortunately, not everyone appreciated her efforts. There were always rivals ready to challenge her authority, thinking they could defeat her. But none ever succeeded. They either died in combat or submission. To them, Queen Amina was like unto a lioness protecting her pride. Yet her reign could not last forever. Eventually, after decades of ruling and waging war, Queen Amina met her end. One story says she died at Atagara near present-day Bida, while another claims she fell in one of her campaigns. But no one knows for sure where her final resting place is. However, her memory has never faded. To this day, Queen Amina is remembered as one of Africa's greatest warrior queens. She ruled with courage, expanded her kingdom, built strong defenses, and proved that leadership is not only for men. Now, friends, I ask you, what can we learn from the story of Queen Amina? First, we see that true leadership comes from courage, vision, and action, not gender. Second, Queen Amina's story inspires us to pursue strength and independence like her. Finally, her walls and conquests left lasting marks on Hausa history and northern Nigeria's culture. So let us remember Queen Amina not only as a fierce warrior, but also as a visionary leader and builder who shaped her world. Thank you for listening to my tale. Until next time, may the ancestors guide and protect you always.